What if the loose change in your pocket is hiding a secret worth far more than you can imagine? These ordinary-looking Roosevelt dimes from 1967, 1977, 1983p, 1991d, and 1999d could secretly hold incredible value if found in rare, flawless condition. A tiny detail, a perfect shine, or a hidden minting feature can turn just 10 cents into a collector's dream. Before you spend another dime, take a closer look, because one small coin could change everything in an instant. First up, the 1983 P. Roosevelt Dime might look like just another small silver-colored coin in your pocket, but under the right conditions, it can hold a story that feels almost unbelievable. Imagine holding a coin so rare in a specific state that collectors are willing to pay thousands, even tens of thousands, for it. This isn't about fantasy. It's about understanding how rarity, condition, and subtle details can transform an ordinary coin into something extraordinary. First, you need to understand what makes the 1983 P dime special. It was minted in Philadelphia, which is what the P mint mark represents. Millions of these coins were produced, so at first glance, there's nothing rare about them. However, the real magic lies not in how many were made, but in how many survived in perfect, untouched condition. That's where the value begins to rise dramatically. In 1983, the United States Mint faced some production challenges. Many coins from that year were released into circulation quickly, often without the same level of careful handling seen in other years. Because of this, most 1983 P dimes you'll find today are worn, scratched, or dull. Finding one that looks brand new, what collectors call mint state, is extremely difficult. Now, here's where things get exciting. A 1983 P. Roosevelt dime in average condition might only be worth its face value, just 10 cents. But if you happen to find one in pristine condition, especially graded MS65 or higher, the value can jump significantly. Some high-grade examples have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on their quality and appeal. But there's another level beyond that. The real dream coin is a full bands example. On the back of the Roosevelt dime, there's a torch with horizontal bands. If those bands are fully visible and sharply defined, the coin is considered rare and highly desirable. These full bands coins are incredibly difficult to find for the 1983 P issue, making them especially valuable. When you combine a high mint state grade with full bands detail, the price can skyrocket. Collectors compete aggressively for such coins, and auction prices can reach into the thousands. While it may not literally turn you into a billionaire overnight, finding one of these rare dimes could absolutely be a life-changing discovery for an average person. Another factor that increases value is originality. Coins that have not been cleaned, polished, or altered in any way are far more valuable. Many people unknowingly damage their coins by trying to improve their appearance. In reality, cleaning a coin can destroy its collector value instantly. The history behind the Roosevelt dime also adds emotional and cultural value. Introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, the dime represents resilience and leadership. By 1983, it had become a widely circulated coin, but few people realized that some examples from that year would become hidden treasures decades later. Condition grading plays a massive role in determining value. Professional grading services carefully examine coins under magnification, looking at tiny details like luster, strike quality, and surface marks. Even a small scratch or weak detail can lower the grade significantly, which is why truly high-grade coins are so rare. If you're searching for one of these valuable dimes, you need patience and a sharp eye. Check old coin collections, jars, or inherited items. Pay close attention to coins that look unusually shiny or well-preserved. Sometimes, the most valuable pieces are hiding in plain sight. It's also important to stay realistic. Not every 1983 P dime is worth a fortune. Most are common, and only a tiny fraction meet the strict requirements for high-value status. The idea of becoming instantly rich from one coin is exciting, but it's better to approach it with knowledge and careful evaluation. Collectors value rarity, but they also value authenticity and story. A coin that has been preserved for decades without damage carries a sense of history. It's not just metal, it's a piece of time surviving untouched while the world changed around it. The market for rare coins is driven by demand. When collectors are actively searching for a specific coin, prices can rise quickly. The 1983 Dime in top condition has gained attention over the years, making it a sought-after piece in the numismatic community. So, if you ever come across a 1983 Roosevelt Dime, don't ignore it. Take a closer look. Examine the details, the shine, the bands on the torch. It might just be another coin, but it could also be something far more valuable than you ever imagined. In the end, the true power of this coin lies not just in its potential price, but in the excitement of discovery. The idea that something so small and ordinary could hold such value is what makes coin collecting thrilling. And who knows, your next big find might already be in your pocket, waiting to change your fortune. Second up, the 1991 Roosevelt Dime might look like a simple everyday coin, but under the right circumstances, it can turn into something that feels almost unbelievable. Imagine holding a tiny piece of metal that most people ignore, yet in rare condition, it can attract serious collectors willing to pay hundreds or even thousands of dollars. It's not magic, it's the power of rarity, condition, and timing working together in a way most people never notice. This coin was minted in Denver, which is what the small d mark represents. In 1991, millions of these dimes were produced and released into circulation across the United States. Because of that, the average example you find in your pocket today is only worth its face value. But the story completely changes when you begin to look at condition, detail, and preservation over time. Most 1991 D-dimes were used heavily in daily transactions. They passed through countless hands, machines, and environments. Over time, this caused scratches, dull surfaces, and worn details. That's why finding one that still looks brand new, like it just left the mint, is extremely rare. Collectors call this mint state, and it's the first step toward serious value. Now here's where the excitement builds. A regular circulated coin might be worth just 10 cents, but a 1991 D-dime in high mint state condition like MS65 or above can be worth far more. These coins have sharp details, strong shine, and minimal marks. The higher the grade, the fewer coins exist in that level of perfection, and the more collectors are willing to pay. But the real hidden treasure lies in a special feature known as full bands. On the reverse side of the dime, there's a torch with horizontal bands. If those bands are fully separated and clearly visible, the coin becomes significantly rarer. For the 1991 D issue, full bands examples are not easy to find, especially in high grades. When you combine a high-grade coin with full bands detail, the value can jump dramatically. Some of these rare pieces have reached impressive prices at auctions, sometimes crossing into the thousands of dollars. While it may not literally make someone a billionaire overnight, it can absolutely feel like discovering a hidden jackpot. Another important factor is originality. A coin that has never been cleaned or altered holds much higher value. Many people make the mistake of polishing coins to make them look shiny, but this actually destroys their collector appeal. Serious buyers want coins exactly as they were preserved over time, not artificially improved. The history behind the Roosevelt Dime adds another layer of meaning. First introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, the coin symbolizes strength and leadership. By 1991, it had become a normal part of everyday life. Yet, hidden within that ordinary circulation were a few extraordinary examples waiting to be discovered decades later. Grading plays a critical role in determining how valuable a coin truly is. Professional graders examine every tiny detail, surface quality, luster, strike sharpness, and even microscopic marks. A small difference in grade can mean a huge difference in price, which is why top-quality coins are so rare and valuable. If you want to search for one of these valuable dimes, you need patience and attention to detail. Look through old coin jars, collections, or inherited items. Pay close attention to coins that stand out, those with bright shine, sharp edges, and strong design details. Sometimes the most valuable coin is the one others overlooked. It's important to stay realistic as well. Not every 1991 D-dime is valuable, and the majority are still worth just their face value. The dream of instant wealth is exciting, but the real opportunity comes from knowledge and careful observation. Understanding what makes a coin rare is what gives you the advantage. Collectors are driven by rarity and demand. When a specific coin in a specific condition becomes hard to find, its value naturally increases. The 1991 D-dime with full bands in high grade has become one of those coins that serious collectors keep searching for, pushing its value higher over time. There's also something powerful about the idea that a small coin can carry decades of history. It may have traveled across cities, passed through countless hands, and still survived in near-perfect condition. That survival is what makes it special, turning it from ordinary money into a collectible treasure. So, if you ever come across a 1991 Roosevelt Dime, don't ignore it. Take a closer look, examine the torch, check the shine, and notice the details. It might just be a common coin, but it could also be one of those rare pieces that hold surprising value. In the end, the real excitement comes from the possibility. The thought that something so small could carry such potential is what makes coin collecting thrilling. Maybe it won't make you a billionaire overnight, but finding the right coin at the right time can still change your situation in a way that feels just as powerful. Third up, the 1977 Roosevelt Dime might look like a simple, everyday coin, something people ignore or spend without thinking, but hidden inside this ordinary piece of metal is a story that can feel almost unbelievable. Imagine holding a coin that most people treat as just 10 cents, yet under the right conditions, it can attract collectors and bring in hundreds or even thousands of dollars. It's not about hype or fantasy, it's about understanding what makes one coin ordinary and another truly valuable. First, you need to understand that the 1977 dime was produced in huge numbers by the United States Mint, mainly in Philadelphia and Denver. Because of this, most of these coins are extremely common. If you find one in normal circulated condition, it is only worth its face value. But here's where things start to change. The real value doesn't come from a number made, it comes from how rare it is to find one in perfect condition today. Coins from 1977 were heavily used in daily life. They moved through hands, shops, machines, and years of wear. Because of this, most surviving examples today are scratched, dull, and worn down. That's why finding a 1977 dime that still looks brand new, bright, sharp, and untouched is incredibly rare. This is what collectors call mint state, and it's where the value begins to rise. Now, imagine a 1977 dime that has survived decades without damage. No scratches, no fading, no loss of detail. In lower mint state grades, the coin might be worth a few dollars, but as the grade increases, MS65, MS66, MS67, the number of available coins drops sharply and the price starts climbing fast. At the highest levels, these coins can sell for hundreds or even over $1,000 depending on quality and demand. But there is another hidden detail that can push the value even higher, the full bands feature. On the back of the Roosevelt dime, there is a torch with horizontal bands. If those bands are fully separated and clearly visible, the coin is considered much rarer. Many coins from the 1970s were not struck perfectly, so finding one with full, sharp bands is difficult. When a 1977 dime combines a high mint state grade with full bands detail, it becomes a serious collector's item. These are the coins that attract attention at auctions. These are the coins that collectors compete for. And while they don't reach millions like legendary rare coins, they can still bring in impressive amounts that surprise most people. Another factor that plays a huge role is originality. A coin that has never been cleaned or altered is far more valuable than one that has been polished. Many beginners think cleaning a coin makes it better, but in reality, it destroys the natural surface and reduces its value instantly. Collectors want coins exactly as they have aged naturally over time. The history behind the Roosevelt dime adds emotional value as well. Introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, the coin represents strength, leadership, and resilience. By 1977, it had become a normal part of everyday American life, but hidden within that everyday circulation were a few rare pieces waiting to become valuable decades later. Grading is one of the most important parts of determining value. Professional grading services examine coins under magnification, checking every tiny detail, luster, strike quality, and surface marks. Even a small flaw can reduce the grade, and that's why truly high-grade coins are so rare and valuable. It's also important to understand the reality behind million-dollar coin claims. While some extremely rare coins in history have sold for huge amounts, most modern dimes, including 1977, do not reach those levels. However, certain rare errors or near-perfect examples can still be worth significant money, especially to serious collectors. Error coins add another layer of excitement. Sometimes during the minting process, mistakes happen, off-center strikes, clipped edges, or missing layers. These errors are uncommon, and when they appear on a 1977 dime in good condition, they can increase its value. The more unusual and clear the error, the higher the potential price. If you want to find one of these valuable coins, you need patience. Look through old coin collections, jars, or inherited items. Pay attention to coins that look different, brighter, sharper, or unusual in any way. Sometimes, the most valuable coins are hiding where no one thinks to look. Collectors are driven by rarity and demand. When a coin becomes hard to find in a certain condition, its value increases. The 1977 Roosevelt dime in top condition is not easy to find, which is why it has gained attention among collectors over time. There's also something powerful about the idea that a small coin can carry decades of history. It may have traveled across cities, passed through thousands of hands, and still survived in near-perfect condition. That survival is what gives it value and makes it special. So if you ever come across a 1977 Roosevelt dime, don't ignore it. Take a closer look. Check the shine, examine the torch, and notice the details. It might just be an ordinary coin, but it could also be something far more valuable than you ever expected. In the end, the real excitement comes from the possibility. The idea that something so small and common could hold hidden value is what makes coin collecting so thrilling. It may not make you a billionaire overnight, but finding the right coin at the right time can still change your situation in a way that feels just as powerful. Fourth up, the 1967 Roosevelt dime may look like a small, ordinary coin, something people spend without even thinking, but hidden within this simple piece of metal is a story that can feel powerful and surprising. Imagine holding a coin that has traveled through decades of history, passed through countless hands, and still has the potential to capture the attention of collectors who are willing to pay far more than its tiny face value. That's where the excitement begins. To understand why the 1967 dime can become valuable, you first need to know something important about its background. During the mid-1960s, the United States Mint removed mint marks from coins, including dimes, to discourage collectors from hoarding them. That means the 1967 Roosevelt dime does not carry a mint mark, which already makes it a little different from many other years. While millions were produced, the challenge today is not finding one, it's finding one in exceptional condition. Most 1967 dimes were heavily circulated. They were used daily, moving from pocket to pocket, machine to machine, year after year. Over time, this caused wear, scratches, and dull surfaces. That's why the majority of these coins today appear worn and lifeless. But every once in a while, a coin survives in near-perfect condition, almost as if time forgot to touch it. And that's where the real value begins to rise. A 1967 dime in average condition is worth only 10 cents. But when you find one that still has its original shine, strong luster, and sharp details, the story changes completely. Collectors call this mint state, and coins in higher grades like MS-65, MS-66, or beyond become increasingly rare. As the grade goes up, the number of available coins drops sharply and the price can rise dramatically. One of the most important features collectors look for is the detail on the reverse side of the coin, especially the torch. The horizontal bands on the torch are a key point of focus. If these bands are fully separated and clearly defined, the coin is considered a full bands example. For 1967 dimes, finding such detail in high-grade condition is not easy, making these coins far more desirable. When a 1967 Roosevelt Dime combines high mint state quality with strong full bands detail, it becomes a serious collectible. These are the coins that stand out in auctions and private sales. While they may not realistically reach millions of dollars, they can still achieve impressive prices that surprise many people who never thought a dime could be worth so much. Another important factor is originality. Coins that have never been cleaned or altered are far more valuable than those that have been polished. Many people mistakenly try to clean old coins to make them look better, but this actually damages the surface and removes the natural texture collectors want. A coin in its original state tells a more honest and valuable story. The 1967 Roosevelt Dime also carries historical importance. It was minted during a time of change in the United States when coin production methods were being adjusted and silver had already been removed from dimes just a couple of years earlier. This gives the coin a unique place in history, making it more interesting to collectors who appreciate both value and story. Grading plays a huge role in determining how much a coin is worth. Professional graders examine coins under magnification, studying every detail, from the shine of the surface to the sharpness of the design. Even the smallest scratch or imperfection can lower the grade, which is why truly high-grade coins are so rare and valuable. Sometimes error coins add even more excitement. A 1967 dime with a minting mistake, like an off-center strike, double design, or unusual flaw, can attract strong interest. These errors are uncommon, and when they appear on a well-preserved coin, they can increase its value significantly. If you're searching for one of these hidden treasures, patience is your greatest tool. Look through old collections, jars of coins, or inherited items. Pay attention to coins that seem brighter, sharper, or different from the rest. The most valuable pieces are often the ones people overlook because they don't know what to look for. It's also important to stay grounded. Not every 1967 dime is valuable, and the majority are still worth only their face value. The idea of becoming instantly rich from one coin is exciting, but the real opportunity comes from understanding rarity, condition, and detail. Knowledge is what turns a simple coin into a meaningful discovery. Collectors are driven by rarity and demand. When a coin becomes hard to find in a certain condition, its value increases naturally. The 1967 dime in top condition, especially with strong details, has gained attention over time because so few examples have survived in that state. There is something powerful about holding a coin that has lived through decades of history. It may have traveled across cities, passed through thousands of hands, and still survived with its beauty intact. That survival is what gives it meaning and makes it more than just money. It becomes a piece of history. So, if you ever come across a 1967 Roosevelt dime, don't ignore it. Take a closer look, examine the shine, and study the details on the torch. It might seem like just another coin, but it could hold more value than you expect. And while it may not make you a billionaire overnight, it can still be a discovery that feels exciting, rewarding, and truly unforgettable. Fifth up, the 1999 D Roosevelt Dime may seem like one of the most ordinary coins you could ever find, something that slips through your fingers without a second thought, but hidden inside this tiny piece of metal is a story that can surprise even experienced collectors. Imagine holding a coin that millions of people have used, yet only a very small number exist in a condition so perfect that they become highly valuable. That's where the real excitement begins. This coin was minted in Denver, which is marked by the small d on the front. In 1999, an enormous number of dimes were produced, meaning they are very common in everyday circulation. Most people assume that because a coin is common, it has no real value beyond its face, but in coin collecting, the real secret lies not in how many were made, but in how many survived in perfect condition. Over the years, most 1999 D-dimes have been used again and again. They've been dropped, scratched, stacked, and exposed to all kinds of environments. Because of this, the majority of them today are worn and lack detail. That's why finding one that still looks brand new, bright, sharp, and untouched is incredibly rare. These coins are known as mint state, and they are the ones collectors are always searching for. When a 1999 D-dime is found in higher mint state grades like MS65 or above, its value begins to rise. These coins have strong luster, clean surfaces, and very few marks. As the grade increases, the number of available coins becomes smaller, and the competition among collectors becomes stronger. This is where prices can move far beyond 10 cents, but the real key detail that can turn this coin into something special is known as full bands. On the reverse side, the torch design has horizontal bands, and if those bands are fully separated and clearly visible, the coin becomes much rarer. For many 1999 D-dimes, these bands are not perfectly struck, which makes fully detailed examples highly desirable. When you combine a high mint state grade with full bands detail, the coin enters a completely different level of value. These are the coins that stand out in auctions and attract serious collectors. While they may not realistically reach millions of dollars, they can still sell for impressive amounts, sometimes reaching hundreds or even thousands depending on quality. Another factor that increases value is originality. Coins that have not been cleaned or altered are always preferred. Many people think cleaning a coin improves its appearance, but in reality, it damages the natural surface and reduces its value. Collectors want coins that have remained untouched, preserving their original texture and shine. The Roosevelt Dime itself has a meaningful background. Introduced in 1946 to honor President Franklin D. Roosevelt, it has been part of everyday American life for decades. By 1999, it was one of the most widely used coins, yet hidden within that circulation were a few exceptional pieces that would later become valuable. Grading is one of the most important parts of determining a coin's worth. Experts examine coins under magnification, looking at every tiny detail from the sharpness of the design to the smallest surface marks. Even a slight imperfection can lower the grade, which is why top-quality coins are so rare. Sometimes, error coins add another layer of excitement. A 1999 D-dime with a minting error, such as a double design, off-center strike, or unusual flaw, can attract strong attention from collectors. These errors are not common, and when they appear on a well-preserved coin, they can increase its value significantly. If you want to find a valuable example, you need patience and focus. Search through old coin jars, collections, or inherited items. Look for coins that stand out, those that are brighter, sharper, or unusually well-preserved. Often, the most valuable coins are the ones people overlook because they don't know what to look for. It's also important to stay realistic. Not every 1999 D-dime is valuable, and most are still worth only their face value. The idea of becoming a billionaire overnight from a single coin is exciting, but the real opportunity lies in understanding what makes a coin rare and valuable. Collectors are driven by rarity and demand. When a coin becomes difficult to find in a certain condition, its value naturally increases. The 1999 D-dime in high grade with full bands has gained attention because so few examples meet those strict requirements. There is something fascinating about the journey of a coin like this. It may have passed through countless hands, traveled across cities, and still survived in near-perfect condition. That survival is what transforms it from simple currency into a collectible treasure. So, if you ever come across a 1999 D. Roosevelt dime, don't ignore it. Take a closer look at its shine, its details, and especially the torch bands. It might just be an ordinary coin, but it could also be something far more valuable than you expect. In the end, the real thrill comes from possibility. The idea that something so small could hold hidden value is what makes coin collecting exciting. While it may not instantly change your life, finding the right coin at the right time can still be a discovery that feels powerful and rewarding.